Hello, my name is Mark Puryear. I'm your host for the Centrum Acoustic Blues Workshop Blues Talks. And today we have two of our esteemed teachers that we'll be talking to. And I want to welcome you to the Acoustic Blues Workshop 2024. To my right, we have Jayy Hopp, and to Jayy Hopp's right is Ben Hunter. And I'd like to start just, if Jayy Hopp, you could give us a little bit about your background, bio, like, you don't have to go right back to the day you were born, but, just a little bit about your musical and life.
Well, I grew up in church. All my family played, cousins, uncles, aunties, they all played piano, drums, guitar, bass, whole 9 yards. So it was kind of like I was forced into it. I'm a preacher's kid also, so once they grew up, got grown, married, started having kids and moving away, I had to take over the music section. So I did that for a couple of years. When I got of age and was able to move out and stuff, then I ventured out into R&B and blues. And here I am now.
Well, what instruments did you play?
I started off on drums, then I got interested in guitar, and then the piano was kind of like thrown at me in the church.
All right.
So I ain't gonna say I was forced to learn it, but I was forced to learn it.
Yeah, all right. And how compelled, yeah.
Okay, yeah, compelled.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Ben, tell us a little bit about yourself in your early years.
Mine's a different story altogether. I was raised not in the church. Very much not in the church. Although I did go when my grandma asked me to. My mom was not really. That wasn't something that I grew up in. But I did grow up in it. Listening to music. I got my degree in performance violin. I started playing violin when I was 5 or 6, and so my training background comes from a very classical perspective. But I was really fortunate that my mom really valued travel. And so, it was just me and my mom, and, summers we'd go places, so, there's no toys in the house. My mom always says I give her a hard time about that, but there were no toys in the house. Money was saved to go to travel. And so I picked up a lot of sounds, going to different countries and different places around the world. Lived in Zimbabwe for a couple of years. Studied Shona music and marimba and bira. I was born in Lesotho, in southern Africa. So I've always just kind of been, I've had that kind of like musical soundscape in my brain. So, growing up in the United States, I got out of college and then I kind of shifted my attention to folk music, colloquial music. And I've been doing that for a long time, but it's always been in this like search for like my roots, And so I've found myself lately, like in the last 5-10 years, really exploring diaspora as a mixed race child, as a just my mom and myself. I feel like exploring the diaspora is more attuned to kind of like my experience growing up in between spaces.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's like you see the world, you have a worldview as opposed to just, this United States being the borders. Yeah, I think that's great. Smart mom.
Well, yeah, she's here. Actually. Okay. She's watching my son right now. So.
Right, smart mom. So I guess next I'd like to, this is a complex question, or multiple part. One is if you could share a bit about your experience teaching here at the Acoustic Blues Workshop. And also, with that, perhaps share some of the impact this workshop has had on you as far as, your development or as an artist or your experience with this larger community that's involved with the blues music. So I hope that's not too complex.
Nah, it ain't.
Okay.
I feel like, I'm gonna start with the second question first. I feel like being an instructor here has improved me personally because I can't be teaching people something that I really don't understand or really don't know. So that makes me go back and do my homework and actually study the stuff. And being here, it's really opened up a lot of opportunities for me, and it opened up a lot of friendships. I met being here. He brought me into his home, spent the night, we did gigs together. Meeting good people like that is always a blessing. But I've been coming here, the last 4 years? Mm-hmm. And each year is always something different, but it's always great. And I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a whole bunch of workshops here, right? Mm-hmm. And I think some of them are really steeped in like a pedagogy, right? Yeah. Like I haven't gone to this, but I have heard, right, that for instance, like the jazz workshop is much more, I don't want to use the word strict, but like there's a goal, there's a focus, there's a teaching kind of curriculum and pedagogy. Whereas here at Blues, like that is certainly part of it. Mm-hmm. But I think what was impressed upon me when I first got here, and what really opened my mind, especially coming from a classical background, right, is that it's just as much, if not more important, about the ethos of this music,
yes,
right?
Yes.
It's like, I think this week particularly is emotional for me because when I came here, one of the first people I met was Phil Wiggins.
Right.
Right. So this space is very much about that relationship, right? And not having him here is a thing, but he would always mention and I think live out the idea, right, that it's not about like sitting in front of a silent crowd, intently listening to like authentic blues music, right? It's about a house party. It's about all the ingredients that come together to create an environment where we're playing music together, we're sharing stories, we're laughing, we're jiving, we're throwing jabs at each other, like all in play, all in fun, and then through that we grow, and we grow musically, we grow socially, we grow, in all the ways that comes out of ethos of the music. And I think that's the thing that I love the most about this, is the energy that comes out of it.
Yeah, I agree. And I have to say, like you, Ben, I wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for Phil inviting me the first time I came a number of years ago. And I was aware of it. I've been a friend of Phil's for since our teen years. But it really opened my eyes up coming here and just having that experience over the years. And it's been a big part of my life, I miss him immensely, I really do. So...
I forget what the first question was.
That's all right. Well, the first question was just a little bit about your experience teaching, and then what you got from it. So I think we've answered what we've drawn from this. But what about the teaching experience? What can you share about what you've done with the different courses you've taught over the years?
Well, I mean, I think like Jayy, I think any teacher is going to become a better musician or teacher or whatever, just by being a teacher. You kind of check the things that maybe you ignore when you play. You're like, oh, I should really work on this thing that I'm telling these people to work on.
Yeah.
But also I think, again, coming from a classical perspective where everything is on a page.
Yes.
Everything is told to me. Dynamics, texture, the notes are exactly, they're prescribed. And for me, I've made it a point to deny that to my students. They'll be like, hey, can you get a chord chart? Can you write this down? And it's like, no, we cannot. We won't. And I think that's a thing that I take a lot of joy. not in like some sort of, I don't, what's the term when you get joy from somebody else's pain?
Schadenfreude or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. That's not it. But I think there's an element, right, where like this music wasn't taught on a page.
Right.
And part of that ethos is like having an open ear. And not because you're gonna learn, you're gonna steal those licks exactly, and maybe you are if you have that kind of ear. But I think more importantly, you're gonna find your own voice.
Yeah.
Right? You're gonna find your own way of playing this music, and you're gonna hear certain things. So like, why give it to you on a page when like the whole element of this traditional music is that it changes and it evolves and it moves as people's ears and experiences, touch it.
Yeah. That's very true, and a good point about the way people learn, because this is a music form and really a legacy that wasn't based on that literate sort of book learning model of music. It wasn't something you could pick up a book. Now it is, of course, but in its original form. And I think I'll just add this, and I think I've said it a lot in these talks, is that our memory is amazing. And as technology is coming in, we start to rely a little more on that technology to keep us, like my phone book, my this, that. And I just recalled my mom and dad. I could ask them a number.
Yeah.
They'd have it right there. And they were human Rolodexes. And I just, compared to today,
I've got 4 numbers memorized, and 3 of them don't even work anymore.
Yeah. So the music memory, to that point, the musical memory is really, I think, a very strong thing. I agree. And I don't want to take any more time there, but to learn it and memorize it the way you process it, individual process, we all memorize differently. And it's important to figure that out in music. But to you, Jayy, how about the teaching experience? And
It's been pretty smooth. Mm-hmm. I actually like seeing people come in and participate, and they are actually interested in what you got to say, what you're trying to teach them. And to the people that stick around after class, it does my heart good. You see that? And it's not just one instrument that these people want to learn. They want to learn it all.
Yes.
And they coming out here, they staying all day. They want to stay all night. Mm-hmm. It's just a great vibe out here. All the years I've came out here, it's always been a wonderful vibe. Yes. Everybody always saying this is heaven on earth. Mm-hmm. Even though this is Blues Week, we got a lot of people here that play a variety of music. Yeah. But it's amazing how we just come together on the same level and playing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the crazy thing, right? Like, people come from all over the world to this place. I mean, that's a beautiful thing, right? When people care that much about it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That is really a true thing. I mean, it's we've been through the pandemic. We've been through a lot in the last 4 years, and it's nice to see that this isn't. It's impacted, but not that much. I mean, that people still are dedicated and determined to come back and do this in person live. It was hard. It was definitely, what's that, 21? Yeah, we did it virtually. That was hard on me. Yeah. Not having the immediate feedback from the the workshop participants. Mm-hmm. So. Jayy, Hopp, tell us a little bit about what you are doing with music and when you're home, and what's going on in the future for you. What do you got working on?
Well, I'm a full-time mechanic, so I work Monday through Saturday sometimes. I'm off every other Saturday. So normally on the weekends, I'm trying to get club gigs, house parties, and stuff like that. I just got back from Arkansas last weekend. Mm-hmm. Got back from Utah the weekend before that. So I'm really doing live music.
Yes.
But hopefully this winter I'll be recording and I'll have something out by next year.
Yeah.
But that's all I'm doing, man. I'm still establishing myself, making a name for myself. Mm-hmm. Now it's really kind of popping off for me.
Good. Yeah. I'm glad, man. That's good. That's what needs to happen. Yeah. So you're touring then, really playing, and is it you're the front line headliner?
3-piece.
Yeah, good.
Me and John Taves, we toured. When I first started playing, he took me under his wing. We were touring somewhere everywhere. Even during the pandemic, we was all up north, New York, Cleveland, somewhere everywhere. We was with G-Love and a Special Sauce.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we did that for about 6 months straight. We was off for a couple months and went right back at it that year.
Wow.
And then I just started growing with the country blues, so he started taking me with him. Finally, he was like, bro, you got it.
Yeah.
You need to start booking your own stuff and doing your own shows. Got me a little band together. I'm doing all right.
All right.
What's the band? What's in it?
Me, I play guitar, bass, and drums. That's it. It depends on what gig I'm doing. Let's say I'm doing a house party, I might call a keyboard player, piano player, but other than that, 3-piece in it.
Yeah.
Country blues?
Nah, electric.
Yeah.
Early stuff, early electric. Stuff like Jimmy Johnson, Jimmy Dawkins, Magic Slim.
Oh, yeah.
All that early stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, and 3 pieces, when you get to the economics, it's a good size.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good
I have done just me and the drummer before. We
Yeah.
did plenty of shows, and the people love it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And I think that comes from incorporating the country blues style. If I hadn't never learned that, I'd probably still be somewhere shredding all day. Sometimes it's good to not solo. You can have songs that are just songs that have real beautiful meanings to them. So that's how I look at people. Some people look at electric blues, you gotta have that guitar screaming the whole time. But I'm really trying to get my point across. I'm trying to let you know that I'm an artist, not just a guitarist. I sing, I can talk to you about it a little bit. You know, I'm a human just like you.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So you playing fingerstyle when you say country blues?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Because that's how you do get that big sound.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you do like, like northern Mississippi, like Arl Burnside kind of like blues, like with the bass and the drum?
Yeah.
And the electric kind of like,
Yeah.
kind of like hang on one chord?
Yeah. Yep.
Get a groove. Yeah.
All that.
Yeah. That's where it's at.
I love it, bro. And it's people think it's simple. It's not simple.
No.
It's a lot of stuff they doing, and you know it's not simple because making you do something. It's getting in you. If I was up there just playing some hoopla, y'all be looking at me crazy. They would be looking at me crazy, side-eyed, saying this dude need to get off stage. But man, it's some of the best stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
I love that. Junior Kimbrough got one song called Meet Me in the City. I love that song.
Oh, yeah.
I always make sure when I go through there, Foxfire Ranch or anywhere in Mississippi, I try to do that song. But, oh yeah, man.
Yeah, I think that's the best stuff too.
Yeah.
It's not complicated.
Yeah.
It's complicated and it's nuanced, but like one chord and it's about a groove.
Yeah.
And that song could last 10, 15 minutes if you wanted to. It really just depends on what's going on out there.
Yeah, to your point about the house party concept. Yes, you're playing for the audience.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's true. So how about you, Ben? What's happening with you in the future? And
Well,
you got a lot going
I was touring for a while with my good friend Joe, and then I had a baby in 2020, and he had a baby in 2022, and we kind of like took a break so that we could do our things. I started a job at Northwest Folklife, so I run one of the oldest folk festivals in the country, 53 years.
Excellent.
Started by NCTA back in the 70s, or in partnership, collaboration with NCTA, National Council of Traditional Arts. So I do that. That's my day job. It's great. I mean, I'm lucky. That's my job. I get to run a festival and curate shows throughout the year and bring artists together. Dance, music, visual arts, performance, poetry, storytelling. Like it's a really cool gig from all over the world, right? So it's
Right.
it's not just it's not just kind of where my background comes from. It's like we helped co-produce a Laotian festival last weekend.
Excellent.
You know, we're producing monthly shows at a brewery downtown and Act Theater. We do pre shows before theater gigs. So it's like just trying to like, I don't know, increase the value proposition of arts and culture. Like
Yes.
it belongs everywhere.
Right.
And I think we realized during the pandemic how much we really needed it. And unfortunately, like it started to kind of go back, but I'm hoping that there's this opportunity, right, that we can take a hold of where people like found what they needed again, and we can kind of insert that into people's lives again. And then, you know, I'm trying to reinvent myself as well. So I got an album that I've been working on for like 8 years. I need to get it out this year. But it's the opposite. I mean, I'm trying to work on groove, like single chord, you know, like very minimal, not very complicated songs, but a groove. But my band is like anywhere between 5 and 10 people, depending on the budget. So I want like Fela Kuti style stuff, you know, a song that lasts 12 minutes. It's got some sort of like, you know, political element to it, socio-political element to it. It gets people dancing, and it's loud. It's got horns,
Right.
and keyboards, and voices, drums and percussion, all of it.
Yeah.
But you know,
And you have something going on. Is the Black and Tan thing still happening?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I'm co-founder of a space, and Joe's part of it as well. Joe Siemens is a 22 partner coalition that started a venue in South Seattle called Black and Tan Hall. We named it after the Duke Ellington's tune Black and Tan Fantasy, but really about the idea of black and tan clubs that existed all through the United States, which were clubs that challenged segregation, usually black-owned clubs that invited all people to come in, and as long as you came in for the right reason. You came in to listen to music and be human. You know?
Yeah.
So that's an 8-year project as well. I wrote the business plan in like 2015, and we just opened our doors really in January of this year. But yeah, you know, my hope one day is that we'll get to a place where we'll finish blues camp and then we'll just go down to Seattle and do a big house party at the Black and Tan Hall.
Yeah.
And just you know bring people into this. I wish there's more people came to this festival, and so maybe we can usher that into town and get more people interested in this, because we don't really have a huge country blues scene in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
As much as I'd like, at least.
Yeah. I hear you. I think I'll just say that Centrum and my first experience here, hope I'm not repeating myself, I came here to do a retreat with a bunch of folklorists, some people from the NCTA, as a matter of fact. And that's when I met Peter McCracken. Had nothing to do with blues. It was just here on the Fort Worden, you know, a lot of sort of regional Northwest folk life people from all the different states. And it was a nice experience. I'll never forget it. It's just
When was that?
This would have been 90, let's see, probably 94, 93, something like that. Yeah, I'd have to really think hard, because I was doing some work with the National Endowment for the Arts as a contractor, and it's all a blur. It's in the past. But I came out, you know, at that position I was working with the National Heritage Fellowships, which is you know, that National Award for Folk and Traditional Arts, which John Cephas has received. Many of the teachers here have received that award. John Cephas, John Jackson, Phil Wiggins, Warner Williams. I'm probably going to miss some people. I know, wait a minute. I'm going to just stop there, because I'm going to lock up my brain on all the other folks that have taught here. Howard Armstrong, there's another one. And it goes way back, but it was a neat program, so it was fun doing that and actually getting out here and breathing this great air compared to DC.
When did blues start? When was the first blues?
Was it the 90?
93?
93, okay, yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So, and that's, knowing Phil and John from being in the area where Phil was, I had heard about this, and I'd also heard about Augusta, and, went to Augusta a few times, just really to see what it was about. I mean, when, just get in my car and drive down, but this was different, it's a flight involved here.
Yeah, it's a little different. You been to Augusta? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little different vibe.
Yeah.
It's, same idea.
Yeah. This has been our blues talk at the Centrum Acoustic Blues Workshop. And our guests today have been Jayy, Hopp, and Ben Hunter. And I've been your host, Mark Puryear. And thank you, and I hope you enjoy this talk and get some good information from it.